All right. What's up, Jordan? So
Yo.
we got a two for this time. So we have the recap of the last race and then the preview for this race. Um, so we'll try to keep it as short as we can. If we could get this back just before like Friday, ideally, because that's when they're going to start racing, and that would be clutch. So would ideally like post it before they start racing on Friday. But yeah, all right. So I will start. We have you can see it on the sheet, but the hot lap recap I'll do the takes. We're calling this one Who Ate versus Who Ate Asphalt. Recap, preview, fun facts, and then the predictions and gambling for the next race. So that is what we got. And let's just get right into it, brother.
All right.
Um, all right, ready? Three, two, one. Let's actually move some light over here. Okay. Now ready. Three, two, one. Max Verstappen takes his second win of the season on Red Bull Racing's 400th race as Italian crying faces on Saturday turn to smiles on Sunday thanks to heroics by Lewis Hamilton. It is episode 177 of the Eden Asphalt podcast. Down, 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 down. Well, buddy, you said at the beginning when we were previewing this past race that you had forgotten how Ferrari can make you hurt, and they reminded you on Saturday, and then they roped you back in on Sunday. A Lewis Hamilton P4. How are we feeling with the Ferrari team at the moment? Where's our head? Give me a rundown of how you felt at the end of Sunday.
Um, I mean Saturday was tough. Saturday was a tough one. Um, I think because of how interesting Sunday went, like I don't know if I felt like, oh, this is legit pace that they can be a P4 kind of driver and like a top three team. Just with the pit stops and kind of everything, how everything played out. So I am confused.
Okay, yeah,
Also,
confused is a good
Saturday,
way.
yeah, like Saturday was kind of a strategy issue. Sounds like that they just didn't put in the right, like, good tires. And there.
There. All right. It cut out a little bit. Saturday
Oh
was
yeah, my internet's unstable. Dude, my Wi-Fi's been here. Let me connect to personal hotspot. Yeah, it's been the last couple of days. It's been terrible. Sorry.
all good.
What was the last thing you heard?
Um, yeah, Saturday was confusing, and then the way
Okay.
Saturday ended, yeah.
Okay. All right. Three, two, one. Yeah, so Saturday was confusing, obviously, and then Sunday was equally as confusing because like it wasn't actually just the way Sunday went with the amount of different pit stops, the various virtual yellow flags, safety cars. Not really sure if that was like true P4 or it was just like kind of luck. So I have no idea.
I think that's probably fair. Confusing is a good way to put it. I think some things definitely fell your way, but results are results, and P4 are P4. And then, of course, another Max McLaren podium is going to be, oh, we're used to this. We were used to ham ver bot, or a ham bot ver, the
Mm-hmm.
classic Mercedes and Max, and now just we traded in Mercedes for McLaren, and here we are. But today's episode, we have our hot lap recap, we have our TikTok takes, who ate asphalt, a gambling predictions or gambling recap rather. Monaco Grand Preview, country fun facts, predictions, gambling. This is one of the long ones that we have, and we'll get through it as quickly and as briefly as we can. Let's get right into it with our hot lap recap. Meow. All right, coming up. Okay, let's talk the hot lap recap. We started on qualifications on Saturday, less than 5 minutes into Q1. We had a spectacular crash from Yuki. It seemed like F1 and IndyCar were kind of trading back and forth to see who could have like the biggest crashes that were closest to death. And then with 1 minute left in Q1, the new driver, Franco Colapinto for Alpine, took his massive shunt. It was his turn. Ollie Behrman did a time that was good enough to get him through to Q2, but because of that shunt from Colapinto, he got beat out by that red flag, so he fell down. Q2, Aston Martin made a move that crushed the hopes of Italians on their home soil. So they went mediums when everyone else was on softs. They went from P11 and 12 up to the top 10. That meant that P11, 12, and 13 were the two Ferraris and Kimi Antonelli, essentially just the worst possible result for the Italian hopefuls. And for the first time in history, there were no Ferraris in Q3 at Imola. Q3, provisional pole toss around between Max, Lando, and Oscar. Oscar taking pole for the third time this season. Then the top 6 places had 5 different teams occupying them. So the parity is very special this year. Long gone are the days, like we mentioned, of Ham Ver Bot or Ham Bot Ver. Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari taking up all 6 positions. These Saturdays are the light that we imagined at the end of the tunnel, and we have arrived. On to the race. Max Verstappen went outside turn 1 and got Oscar. Just as kind of a la Lando Norris, the typical Lando Norris treatment of getting passed on lap 1. Max Verstappen is just the king of lap 1s. Whether it's squeaky clean or not, or dirty, the conversation can be had, but rarely does he ever get a penalty, and it seems like a safe bet that most races he's going to lead at the end of turn 1. Piastri boxed early for an undercut. But then he needed to get through traffic and got kind of slowed him down a bit. So Max was putting in faster and faster lap times, giving that gap bigger and bigger. Then McLaren boxed Norris a little earlier than they probably should have because Esteban stopped on the circuit, got that virtual safety car, pit stop for Verstappen. So we ended up in a spot where Verstappen was 30 seconds ahead on merit. It's just because of these. Sorry, cut that, Jordan. Just back to we got to a point where Verstappen was 30 seconds ahead. So the result of that was Max got halfway through the race with a 30-second gap behind him at the front. And then that gap was cut down by a Kimi Antonelli DNF on lap 46, which led to a full safety car, even though he stopped at the same place as Ocon. So we had a situation, the top 3 being Verstappen, Piastri, and Norris, 10 laps left. Norris in P3 had fresher tires than Piastri in P2, but it took him 4 or 5 laps to get his teammate, so Max had enough of a gap to get to the win. And our last piece of action was Albon making a move on Leclerc, which Leclerc had to give back after defending. But after Hamilton passed both of them. So Hamilton got P4, Albon got his third P5 of the season, and another Max plus McLaren podium on Red Bull's 400th race, this time Max at the top of the podium. That is our hot lap recap.
Boom.
Meow. All right, Marco, let's give the social media people what they want here. Give us some TikTok takes. What's on your mind?
All right. My TikTok take is going to be I'm looking in the future right now. And I'm going to say that this new rule in Monaco, the forced 2 pit stop, is going to be a fan favorite. And I want to see this in most races. I'm going to add even more on top of this. I think that every tire needs to be used in every race, every compound.
Even the wets?
That's up for debate. As a fan, as a crazy fan, sure. Realistically, maybe just the 3 compounds. But I would say 2 pit stops every single, or those 3 compounds need to get used.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I think you're right. I think this does seem like the future for Monaco just because there have been so many complaints about it being processional. I say make it 3 stops in Monaco, 2 stops everywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's coming. So jump ahead. Just do it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that. I don't really think that this is going to be too much of a change. Like, I don't think it's going to affect too much, but I don't know how else you affect this race. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's an attempt. You got to deal with the hand that you got, and this hand is just a very skinny track with very long cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, good TikTok take. Love it. All right, let's go down to who ate and who ate asphalt. Meow. All right, basically winners and losers, now rebranded as Who Ate and Who Ate Asphalt. I'm going to start with the good with Who Ate. Max Verstappen, like I mentioned twice already, Red Bull's 400th race as a team. He gifted Red Bull his a victory on that on that celebration. Second race of the season where he's been at the top of the podium. He owns Imola, only four wins in a row here at Imola, so better than his previously tied Michael Schumacher, who was tied with three consecutive races, the only driver to win four times in a row on this circuit. He did it again. He did it again. He was fast. Some things fell his way, but they got equalized by a safety car at the end. I think this one is very much just like a Max did Max today.
Yeah, I do think again a little bit of luck, and being able to pit on both of those yellow flags was just perfect timing. Like you see
Yeah,
the perfect timing on that side, you see the opposite side with three drivers, Lando, Alonso, and Leclerc, all just been like,
yeah,
God damn it.
yeah, yeah. The opposite of those guys for sure. And then also Isaac Hadjar, only
Yeah.
driver to score points in a Grand Prix for the Racing Bulls. Got into Q3. I think maybe TikTok take. If things go a certain way in Monaco, just get him in the car. Get him in that Red Bull seat. They got Max in the seat early, and that worked out. You got to identify good talent. I think he's a talent that deserves a spot. But yeah, clap for Isaac Hadjar.
The helmet's already yapping about it. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time.
He's yapping at everybody, but
It's
especially whenever you
crazy.
put a little meat on the bone for him to chew.
Yeah,
Instant.
dude,
Yeah, he
you
needs to be in
got
that
him.
seat. And then Alex Albon, the first Williams driver to finish in the top five at consecutive races since Valtteri Bottas in, guess the year,
2020.
2016.
Oh,
2016, the Russian and Spanish Grand Prix. Yeah, he's just killing it right now. Like Williams is fighting with Ferrari, and it's not 1990s. Can't ask for
yeah.
more
I
than that.
mean, they look like a completely different team. They were the laughing stock forever.
Yeah, and now they're back, baby. Now they're not chasing Ferrari down, but they're not that far away from it. It's if Ferrari continues a massive tumble, they could catch them.
Hey, yeah, okay. I'll get back behind that. You started getting, you lost me a little bit at the beginning, but you wrote me back in
I
at the end.
I saw your face change. I was like, I need to recoup this.
Yeah, I'm getting
Um,
crazy.
all right. Anybody else who ate on your radar?
I mean, Lewis almost getting to the podium was kind of cool, but yeah, I think that was pretty good.
All right. Lewis almost getting to the podium was almost kind of cool. Yeah,
It
I
was
think that's about
pretty
accurate.
cool, almost very cool.
Okay. I like that too. All right, who ate asphalt? Our losers. Yuki in practice, hanging upside down like a cow, gets him into our group of asphalt eaters this episode. It was nice to see him score a point. But I think, it just sucks when your teammate wins a race and you have to be like, yeah, I'm happy about my 1 point. It's 1/25th of what my teammate got, but I'm happy for that.
Yeah, again, like Sergio Perez is the only person that wasn't scoring like next to no points race in and race out.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
funny, looking at the gambling odds and just seeing like, oh, who will win this race, seeing Max's odds, and then saying like seeing this almost sometimes the exact same odds for like what team will win this race in Red Bull.
Yes. No,
You're
yeah,
like, yeah, yeah, that's the same
it's
for it's the same thing. It's the same chance.
they're like, well, you name your odds for Yuki Tsunoda winning the race. We'll give you anything
Yeah,
you want.
it's whatever. Yeah, have fun.
Yeah. All right. The other person you want to have eating asphalt is uh okay, Alpine. It's not like they had the worst weekend, but Flavio Briatore coming back, I think he would have liked to see some kind of like awesome performance where he could be like, see, I told you I'm back. The sport's been missing me, this team's been missing me. But yeah, I think that was a bit of an underwhelming announcement from Flavio Briatore coming in. What was it like 13 and 16 they finished, which is, not as good as Pierre skews that whole argument because it's like, when you're qualifying P4 and you're finishing like P8 or something like that, then, that's where the newfound expectations are going to be. But Flavio Briatore coming back, I'm going to put Alpine on the Eden asphalt side.
All right, cool. Yeah, he also seems pretty scary, dude. So like, I feel like he's not going to put up with some crappy results much longer.
Who hasn't gotten caught with a firearm in Brazil? That's just like what you do when you go there. Price redeemer, firearm on a plane.
Mm-hmm. But you got hand grenades in Greece.
Yeah, hey, easy. Did that shit. McLaren strategy are my last that eight asphalt. I think once for both drivers, team made an undesirable call by saying come in a little early. At the end also, if there's a 15 lap tire differential, let the guy who's on a better tire differential in early. Like I know they're going to get to blowback just because of fire rules and team orders and stuff like that. But I think like if you wanted to get a win, which I don't even really think, I think they just like wanted points and like if they got a win, then great. But yeah, I think I think you could have played a little bit differently there. Kind of rare bad strategy calls from McLaren, so I'll put them on the Eden asphalt.
Yeah, I liked it. Let the boys race, whatever.
Anybody else on your side?
I thought Aston Martin for how great Saturday went. Sunday coming out with 0 points, with two cars being Q3 is a tough luck.
Yeah. Fernando Alonso, the unluckiest driver in the world, according to Fernando Alonso.
Mm-hmm. Tied actually with the other unluckiest driver in Charles Leclerc, noted by Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good stuff. Well, let's go from our Who Ate versus Who Ate Asphalt sector to our gambling predictions recap. But before we get there, a local sponsor, and this was an ad deal sold on Saturday. So on Sunday, it got a little bit outdated, but on Saturday, our local sponsor, we wanted to focus in on small business. We support small business. Pasquale Puccini's Pity Pasta. When life gets you down, and we all know it does, you deserve a meal that makes you just as sad as your favorite Formula One team does. And Pasquale Puccini's Pity Pasta signature artisan pastas are the perfect grub to accompany how any Italian feels watching Formula One. Is this year's team the only team not participate in Q3 at one of their home tracks? Paired that experience with our tough time Tagliatelle. Did your team forfeit 18 points in China after a double disqualification post race? Take a bite out of our wretched rigatoni. Are you fourth place behind a team that only has one driver scoring meaningful points? Take a bite out of our failure fettuccine. No matter the atrocity, we have the slightly overcooked and under delivering pastas to pair with your experience. Order now before the Monaco Grand Prix when all signs point to us surely being out of stock from hungry and depressed tifosi. Pasquale Puccini's Pity Pasta. Next year will be our year, but this year pair it with Pasquale's.
It's tasty.
That's a good. All right. All right, let's move on to wrap up from the previous Grand Prix. Marco, I know I don't say this a lot, but 100% success rate gambling. And you know that I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying it long enough that, it's like swatting on a take. Like it's going to turned around for me this weekend. There was a safety car, bet a unit on that minus 190. Fastest qualifier, Oscar Piastri plus 180. You boys up back to not even being down 4 units. So
Huge.
minus 3.92 units, 5-10 on my record. Your turn.
Not as good. 1-1, but Oscar race winner didn't hit Lando top two, which was actually very nice to see that little battle at the end, and Oscar not having good enough tires. That's the only reason why Lando could pass him. Happy about it. 2 units there because it was minus 275. So 5-9, lost a little bit in totality. So 4.17 units. We're neck and neck. Back again, almost like we're 0-0.
Almost, yeah. It basically are 0-0. Basically are 0 and 10 for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I think you just need to stay in Europe. The
I
rain looks
think I
better
might
over
make
there,
my
dude.
bets from it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm seeing wheels so clear right now.
that's
It's not even
incredible.
funny. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our Monaco Grand Preview done by Marco. Marco's Monaco. Meow.
All right, the Monaco Grand Prix, alongside with the Indianapolis 500 and the 24 hours of Le Mans. This is the triple crown of motorsport. So big deal, big deal. If you haven't had any idea that Monaco is an actual big deal, I've been racing here since 1929. I think it was made in 1219, basically BC, because it is actually just the streets of Monaco. So didn't really have to do much outside of that. I was a part of the first year F1 World Championship in 1950 and hasn't been off since 1955. So I think it's been 58 years, I believe, that we've been racing in Monaco. Um, 78 laps, just over 3.3 kilometers, one DRS zone. That's it. 78 laps, a lot of laps, tiny, tiny little course. This held obviously narrow courses laid out in the streets of Monaco, a lot of elevation changes, very, very tight corners, and a fun little tunnel. So it's honestly one of the most demanding tracks in Formula One for the drivers. It does seem to mimic the country it's in. So obviously, small track. It's a small country, smallest outside of the Vatican itself, less than a square mile, and just very rich. So this is the shortest track by far on the calendar. Typically, each track they need to go. The minimum is 305 kilometers, so 190 miles race distance total. This is 260 kilometers, so substantially less than the minimum. But when you're Monaco and you have the prestige and the history, of course, they're going to make an exception for that. In years past, most teams choose to go with this one-stopper route. This year, we can't say it because new rule, if you haven't noticed, mandatory 2 stops in Monaco. So hopefully that, if it doesn't change, hopefully it does change much where, something always can happen in a pit stop and you multiply that by, 2 times on mandatory pit stops. Hopefully we get a little bit out of that. It's a very, very bumpy track. So as Nelson Piquet said it best, we say it every year. It's like riding your bicycle in the living room, just not a lot of room. You're kind of like constantly kind of shifting and turning. Turn 6 is the slowest track in Formula One. It looks like the slowest track in Formula One as well. It is just a doozy. Not a lot of runoff areas, so like mistakes are normally penalized by crashes instead of just like exceeding the track limits. You will see a lot of slow-mo standby shots of like them touching the sidewalls throughout the track. So just very entertaining in that respect. Due to lack of passing, Monaco just like qualifying is just huge on Saturday. Once you qualify, like that is really kind of like where you see yourself kind of playing, plus or minus a couple cars. Outside of that, I think some of the most interesting aspects, like I said, is just watching the onboard of the drivers, like how quick and how hard they have to turn left and right, seeing the tight margins that these drivers have to drive along. Just don't get prepared for passing. So outside, take everything else in outside of that, and you're gonna have a great time. So weather is going to be 56% chance of rain Friday. Not a big deal because it's Friday. 67 and sunny Saturday. 70 and sunny Sunday.
All right, give me the chaos and the rain, baby. Let's ride.
Sure.
All right, let's move on to our country fun facts and educate our listener base about Monaco. Meow. All right, country fun facts in two truth and a lie for Marco. I'll go first. I have 3. One is going to be deposit. One is going to be trees, and one of them is going to be nudity. Got your attention on that last one. Number 1, deposit. To become a resident, individuals must deposit a minimum of €500,000 in a local bank. This requirement ensures that residents contribute financially to the economy. Second one, trees. Climbing trees in public spaces is prohibited to protect the environment and ensure public safety. And number 3, nudity. Public nudity is strictly prohibited, even on private property visible from public areas. This law preserves public decency.
First one.
First one, that is actually true. You do have to put in a big deposit to be able to be a resident there. Trees or nudity?
Trees.
Trees is also true. Public nudity is not strictly prohibited, even on
Should have
property.
known
You
that
can
is
be
basically France.
you can be naked on a beach in some areas and on your balcony. I looked it up. That was why.
Oh,
That was what my internet history was. That's
yeah,
why it
yeah.
was the
That's
thing.
what interesting.
Yeah, that's all it
Weird.
was.
Yeah. All right, dude. That's on me. That's embarrassing. Okay. Here I go. I have parks, prince and princesses, and planes. So parks. Monaco. I know we always talk about how small it is. It is smaller than Central Park itself in New York. Uh, Prince and Princesses. Prince and Princesses of Monaco are both the current ones are both Olympians in their own right. Prince Albert II competed in the bobsled event. Interesting, Monegascan. At five consecutive Winter Olympics, while Princess Charlene won several swimming medals representing her home country of South Africa. And then airport or planes. The airport in Monaco is so small that literally only one plane can be at a time.
I am gonna go with airport as the lie because I think you
Yes,
can't have an airport there.
there is no airport.
Yeah, you thought you
Nice.
could pull a sneaky on me, dude. I'm
That's
so
pretty
smart. I'm the
good.
smartest guy ever.
You're killing
All
it.
right, let's wrap up the episode with our predictions and gambling for the upcoming Grand Prix in Monaco. Now, all right, I'll go off the rip here. I'm gonna go max top two finish. I don't know if he's gonna be able to outqualify both McLarens. I think he will be able to outqualify one McLaren. I think that's all you need for a top two, and that was at minus 110. So I like that one a lot. That's one unit there. And I'm going to take one unit and split it in half for half a unit on a Gasly points finish at plus 135 and half a unit on a Behrman points finish at plus 400. I think one of those two guys is going to sneak into the points. So yeah, two units, one for Max, and then half for Gasly and Behrman.
Okay. I'm going to go with qualifying car winner without Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Aston Martin. I'm going to go. Williams is looking great. I'm going to go Williams minus 175, 2 units.
Love that.
Also, another qualifying winning car, McLaren. I would think that if they're everything's a coin flip between those three, that it would be like minus 200. It's minus 150, so I see some value in that. I'm going to go McLaren 1 unit qualifying winning car.
Love that. What about a wild card to send people into the weekend?
Um, Ferrari podium.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc specifically.
Okay. All right.
Home
Charles
race.
Leclerc podium. All right. I will say it's one of the easier ones, but last time we gave it Charles Leclerc and Horner fired as a parlay. So I'll give you a Charles podium as your wild card. I'm gonna go Bortoletto in the points. Right now that's 11-1 odds. I would say my wild card is a little bit longer odds than yours. But that's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, I think my parlay was a little higher than yours last week. So suck it.
That's fair.
Suck it.
As
Just a
soon as
little.
Alonso went into Q3, I was like,
Yeah,
I think we might have fun
it's not
in
gonna
here.
work. Yeah.
All right, everybody, enjoy the Monaco Grand Prix. We'll see you back in regular time, not when I'm in Greece and Europe, on the recap for the Monaco Grand Prix and the Indy 500. That's something special.
It's about that. Not
All
on this
right.
podcast.
See you, assholes.
See ya.